And for the final time in the month of June, welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. This one presented by Bricktown Brewery. I'm Chris Lincoln, along with the Coach and Hall of Famers, Gil Cloud and J.B. Haney here. Guys, got a heck of a show. Going to talk a lot of baseball with Ryan Folmar, the ORU baseball coach. Scott Wells, the president and general manager of Remington Park. One of our favorites. A lot to talk about. Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World, Gil.
Bill Haisten, one of the great writers, been in Tulsa for many, many years, has covered all the major colleges, all the major events in Oklahoma, and we're really excited to have Bill here. We're going to talk about the All World Awards at the end, too. Inside story from J.B. Haney with our friend Bill Haisten, too, to feature.
Well, Bill Haisten and I had so many good times when he first came in.
27
really,
years, I think he said he's been here, part of the Tulsa sports scene.
Yeah. But we went over, he was a big fan of boxing. I was too. Sure. And we went all over watching Tommy Morrison,
right, great fighter. Yeah.
And some others too. Yeah. But a lot of fun.
Great guy. Fun. And of course, they had a record season at Remington Park. Their quarter horse meet is all completed now. We'll wait until August to get the Thoroughbreds back in there and start with that. Of course, talk about Thoroughbreds. How about that, guys? We waited 27 years for a Triple Crown winner, and now we have 2 in 5 years.
And what a tremendous athlete Justify is. Wow. Can you imagine? I think we'll hear today from Scott Wells what the racing industry thinks about him, but I think that horse is going to run away with everything the rest of the year.
You know, when you mentioned Remington Park, this seems to me, wherever I go in Oklahoma, somebody has been to the racing in Oklahoma City. When that first started, I never thought it could be what it is today, but it truly is the quarter horse capital of America.
Yeah, record numbers and stuff, and they're getting recognized their simulcast signal all over the country as well. So congratulations, looking forward to having Scott Wells with us. And Ryan Folmar, my gosh, the old Roberts University baseball program is just amazing what they've accomplished.
You know, I can't help but think anytime that you brag on baseball about ORU, can you think of any college that has a better facility than ORU?
Amazing.
I mean, it's been there a long time, but it is as good.
Can you think of any college that's won 19 straight conference championships?
No.
There's not one.
You know, something else that they have done out there, they play a lot of tough games that are not in the conference.
Right.
And when they get in the conference, it's a lot different.
Those have OU come in, Oklahoma State comes in, Kansas comes down, Wichita State comes in. So you'll enjoy Ryan Folmar coming in, our Oral Roberts baseball coach. Did a great job this season. All right, guys, hot topics. I guess we've wrapped things up with the high school sports year in terms of all the awards and championships and such. I guess we can look ahead, though, to this Saturday night to the Tulsa World, the All-World Sports Banquet, and Tulsa Public Schools is going to be well represented.
Oh, I think we'll have a number of student athletes there. These are the finest student athletes in Northeast Oklahoma, recognized by the Tulsa World, and what a great evening and I tell you, they do a really good job with the film clips and the action shots of the student athletes, and then the human interest stories that are involved with how some of these have come back from tremendous injuries to come back and represent their high school. I think it's really fitting that we do this for high school athletes, because they get caught up in the minutia of major college athletics and professional athletics, and the media seems to vacillate to that. And so this is one time where they can be, and I think, like one of our friends have told us, it's kind of like the ESPYs of high school. They really get to see the good athletes.
Great production there.
And the thing that really impresses me about it is the fact that they have athletes here in all classifications. And as a result of that, then Northeast Oklahoma is well represented, the kids appreciate it, and I don't think anyone is really in any way avoided. I think they really cover it well.
That's good.
And how many sports represented?
19.
19 sports. 19. Wow.
You bet.
Unbelievable. And again, kudos to TPS and a great championship season you guys had.
It was a great year. Our student athletes and coaches, and I'll be making a board report tonight to the Board of Education. And one of the things I'm going to tell the board is that in spite of budget cuts, in spite of difficult times financially in the state of Oklahoma, our coaches and our student athletes have persevered. We're 5 state championships and 3 runner-ups. That's 8 chances at the gold ball, and so we were there every time. And I really have a tremendous deal of admiration for our coaches and our student athletes. I think it speaks well.
Our first guest coming up after the break will be Ryan Folmar, the head baseball coach at Oral Roberts University, who, by the way, they made their 29th NCAA tournament appearance. They went over to Fayetteville and didn't get past that first round with a tough Arkansas club that's playing right now in Omaha, the College World Series, along with Big 12 represented by both Texas and Texas Tech in the World Series.
And Texas Tech big upset Texas Tech in the first round.
Knocked off number one Florida, the defending champion.
Number one Florida. And so I tell you what, they better get ready, because I think Texas Tech has got some depth in their pitching, and they can be able to go through this thing.
And I never heard them call the Hogs so many damn times in my life. Every time they scored a run, and they beat Texas like a bad steer, 11-5 or something in the opening game.
11-5, yeah.
Oh my God! And they were calling the Hogs after every game. That long with a 3-hour rain delay and a long game. At Arkansas, they're the real thing too up there.
Well, when you talk about Texas Tech, though, the way they have come about in the last 5 years, that they have just, when they first came in to the Big 12, they weren't very good. Yeah. But now they are in all sports.
Well, and Coach Tadlock, he spent time
Yes.
at OU as the assistant coach at OU, and took some of that philosophy with him to Lubbock, and they've really done a good job recruiting.
And OSU and OU right on the cusp of getting in those regional things, made it back to the College World Series where they belong as well. Quick word on the U.S. Open. That was some great, very dramatic golf. What a course that Shinnecock was, huh?
I tell you, it was outstanding to be able to watch those guys go over par, like I do when I play. I mean, because, but I think on Saturday, and they addressed, I think the players addressed this very well, that given the weather conditions that they had and the pin placements, it was almost unfair.
Yeah.
Because of the weather conditions.
So they lost the course, many golfers.
Well, the USGA indicated at the end of the day that they had made a mistake on 5 or 6 holes that made a difference. But, when the winners went into the last day, or the leaders, and 3 over was the best score.
Oh, yeah.
You got the best golfers in the world. And, of course, and then Mickelson had his meltdown, and that was one of those things that happens. So,
well, it's been a busy time in June, and one of the big highlights for me certainly was seeing another Triple Crown winner. Waited 37 years and got American Pharoah, and then just 4 years later, along comes Justify. Let's look back at his Belmont Stakes triumph as he became the 13th winner of racing's Triple Crown.
Justify comes roaring home to a raucous Belmont Park with 1 furlong to run. Gronkowski and Hofberg trying to run him down. Vito Rosso is 4th, but 16th to go. Justify is still there. Justify from Gronkowski. He's just perfect, and now he's just immortal. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner. Gronkowski was 2nd, Hofberg was 3rd, and Vito Rosso was 4th. Justify has done it.
Since 1992, Bricktown Brewery has been known for local craft and special occasion beers. In addition to all the great food on the Bricktown menu, there are the new twisted comfort foods for you to enjoy. You've got to try the double Bricktown burger, laced with cheese curds, great with Bricktown's Attaboy root beer. Or something lighter for the summer, how about our strawberry salad with chicken? 2 of the new twisted comfort foods now at Bricktown. Get to Bricktown for local craft beer and new twisted comfort foods.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
And we're back on Oklahoma Sportscene. Bricktown Brewery presenting this edition. And we're glad to have with us the head baseball coach at Oral Roberts University, Ryan Folmar. Coach, welcome. Congratulations on a fabulous season again for the Golden Eagles. And I tell you, you guys just continue to crank out championships.
Well, we're trying. We've been pretty fortunate for a long period of time to have a lot of good players come through the program. I think whenever you think about our program, you think about the championship streak. So that's something we're very proud of.
And the streak now, guys, up to 19 consecutive Summer League championships. Gil, that's a domination.
Well, and that makes it easier to recruit, doesn't it? We're talking about championships every time.
Yeah.
But how impressive, really, Coach, to have 6 people go in the draft.
Oh,
that's
yes.
incredible.
Yeah, you know, our business is a player-led business, and that's what it comes down to for us. We've had a lot of great players over a long period of time, and this year was no different. As you said, 6 players that went in the amateur draft this year, and we expect a couple more to sign some free agent contracts here in the next couple weeks. So we had a lot of good players run through here this year.
You know, Ryan, looking back over the years, it seems like that Oral Roberts University every year has had a number of baseball players that were drafted. Why does that occur? What do you do? Got a great ballpark, but you do something else, I'm sure.
Well, I think it starts in the recruiting process. You have to get good players. I think it starts right there. We've been fortunate to bring a lot of good players to campus. And I think once they get to campus, then you have to have a good support staff around those guys to let them grow and develop and become a mature player. I think part of that goes to your strength and conditioning staff. Part of that goes to your athletic training staff and their facility. And certainly a lot of it goes to our assistant coaches and the way we've been able to develop players over a long period of time. So there's a whole network of people that get those guys to kind of perform like they need to perform, but it's a group effort. It takes a village, as a lot of people say, to be able to do that. So hats off to our support staff and what they do for our student athletes.
Coach, you've got to take great pride in the fact of seeing one of your guys in the major leagues. And that happened again. Jose Trevino, the catcher, was such a great catcher for you over the years, made his debut a week ago Friday at ballpark at Arlington, Texas.
This past Friday made his debut. It was kind of one of those strange situations. You look at the Rangers and Chirinos gets suspended for a game or 2 games with a brawl, and then he gets called up, and they were planning on having him up there for a day or 2. The guy that was catching that game then goes down with an ankle injury, potentially going to the DL, so he's going to be up there for a little while, it looks like, and gets his first hit on Saturday, first RBI on Sunday, and it turned out to be a game winner. So a special moment for him. It was Father's Day. He lost his father while he was playing here at ORU. And he's a new father. He has a 2-week-old baby. So it was just a big week for him, a great moment for him, a great moment for Oral Roberts, a great ambassador for our program. So we're very proud of Jose.
You know, I don't think anyone would question what you have done out there. But let's go back. Where did you get your foundation?
Well, I think it starts in a lot of places. You know, I grew up in a coaching household. My dad was a high school football coach for 30 or 40 years. So the foundation was built at home.
In Oklahoma or where?
In Pennsylvania. I grew up in South Central Pennsylvania. As you guys know, huge football community. And, you know, I have a brother that's a college baseball coach. I have a brother that's a college football coach. Another brother that's a high school baseball coach. So kind of what we did. Then I was fortunate enough to go to Oklahoma State and play for Gary Ward. I worked for Tom Holliday, both great baseball men. So I've been really fortunate to be around a lot of good baseball people. Came to ORU, had a chance to work for Rob Walton, who is an outstanding coach as well. So I've been really lucky and worked for some really good people. But for me, it starts at home. The foundation started at home.
Ryan's was part of the Oklahoma State 1996 College World Series team. By the way, this past season, they were 38-20, Oral Roberts, 24-6 in the conference, when their 19th straight Summit League. April 21st, Coach won his 200th baseball game in just his 5th season.
Outstanding. And so when we look at that and the 19 in a row, what does next year look like?
Well, next year looks like
next year.
Yeah, next year looks like a lot of new faces. We're going to have somewhere around 20 new players in our program. Obviously, the 6 guys that signed professional contracts, but you know, we lose a big part of our lineup, and Noah Cummings and Nick Rourke and Harrison Smith, who stepped in and did a great job for us at shortstop. We lose several pitchers. We had 5 pitchers drafted. We lose Brady Womack in that mix as well. So we're going to have a lot of new faces. We're going to have to do a good job early in the fall and early in the spring to really develop our young guys. We're going to have a young bunch and an inexperienced bunch, but we're really excited about the talent we have coming in as well.
One of your goals is obviously NCAA regionals, and you made it for the 29th time in school history. Went to Fayetteville, and those Razorbacks are pretty tough.
That's a good club. You know, we sat around and talked about them earlier a little bit. It's a really talented club. They have depth in the lineup. They have depth in the bullpen. They have a couple starters that are really, really good. So that's going to be a really tough out for anybody in that College World Series.
You know, you talked about recruiting, Coach, and one of the things that struck me is where are those areas now that you recruit from? Because it seems like over the last few years, the high school baseball has not progressed like the sponsored team baseball and the travel teams and everything.
Yeah, I think it all goes in cycles. You know, for a long period of time, the majority of our team was made up from California junior college players. That has kind of evolved to where next year at this time we're going to have 20 Oklahoma high school kids on our team. So we're excited about that part of it too. But I think it goes in cycles. You know, the last couple years haven't been as good in Oklahoma, but I think you look down the road, the next couple years are going to have a good crop of Oklahoma players coming through it. So I think you know where we're at. You know, the city of Tulsa is very fortunate. We have so many great baseball people, not only at the high school level, but junior college level, professional level, that live here in Tulsa. You know, we're very fortunate. So our recruiting base starts here in Tulsa.
Ryan Folmar, the head baseball coach at Oral Roberts University. You got a hot recruit here with you. Your son Luke, how old is he? When will he get up to Oral Roberts?
Luke is 9, and he's actually getting ready to for a couple games this week, so we're excited for him. But Luke's 9 years old. He's a catcher.
A catcher.
He's a catcher. He that's kind of where he gravitated to, and being a catcher myself, I'm good with that. But it's always good to have him with me.
We won't mess with his amateur standing, but you're a pro, so we got a gift for you, Coach.
Absolutely. Our sponsor is Bricktown Brewery, and we want you to go there on us.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Again, congratulations to Oral Roberts University. Another fantastic baseball season, and all the guys you sent on to the major leagues. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Ryan Folmar, head baseball coach at Oral Roberts University, our guest on Oklahoma Sports Scene. We come back, we're going to wrap up the Thoroughbred race, the quarter horse racing season at Remington Park. Look forward to their fall Thoroughbred season. And I'm going to take one more look at another Triple Crown winner justifying the Belmont Stakes. Scott Wells joins us next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
There is no limit to what we will do to help the next generation. As Oklahoma's only affiliate of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we are able to deliver state-of-the-art treatment and the most innovative clinical trials to kids with cancer and blood disorders. This is truly world-class care, right here at home. The St. Jude Affiliate Clinic at the Children's Hospital at St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
It's got to be real barbecue, right? Not some frozen meat cooked who knows where, who knows when, and then trucked in. No, it's got to be the finest cuts. It's got to be a lot of choices, like 9 different meats. It's got to be fast for dine-in, carry-out, or catering. It's got to be smoked fresh right there that day over aged pecan wood. It's got to be the place where all the barbecue wannabes take a back seat, because they can't compete. It's got to be real barbecue, right? It's got to be Billy Sims.
Billy Sims Barbecue. Eat like a champion today.
Okay, staff, if we're going to celebrate Remington Park's 30th birthday all summer long, we have got to get this party under control. Rule number 1, no jockeys allowed. So keep your eyes open.
Excuse me, ma'am, this is the cake for the party.
Great, just set it over there, please.
Absolutely.
Go!
It's Remington Park's 30th birthday, and everyone's invited 24/7 all summer long. Only at Remington Park.
Oh, it's been a tremendous year for horse racing with another Triple Crown winner. Justified took the Belmont Stakes to become our 13th Triple Crown winner. And we're happy to have with us Scott Wells, who, of course, has done a great job over at Remington Park and Lone Star Park, the president and general manager. They just finished a big quarter horse meet, and I think it's pretty safe to say the very best quarter horse meet in the entire country.
Well, I think so, Chris. You know, you and I have been around a lot, and the overnight purses, the general structure, the quality of racing, everything about the Remington Park meet was a big, big success, and we had the numbers to prove it. And then we had some eye-smashing or some jaw-dropping performances late in the meet to indicate just how great these horses are.
Throw us some of those numbers, how we did as far as the field, the betting handle.
Well, our attendance was up 13.7%, which,
that's
you know,
great.
if you're managing anything, if you can get your attendance up 13.7%, something good is going to happen. And our live handle was up over 10%. Nice. And our overall total handle was up almost 10%. So really those are numbers that any racing executive in the country would be very proud to show right now. And we're fortunate to have the collaboration of the Oklahoma Quarter Horse Racing Association, of course the support of our owners, Global Gaming Solutions, to help make all this happen.
Doesn't hurt to have Bricktown Brewery there at the racetrack either.
No,
right?
no, those are great partners. Our hospitality solution people are great
Davey, you're a
partners.
horse player.
Well, you know, the thing that always impresses me is the fact that I really believe that in Oklahoma, the fans of quarter horse racing are far beyond what the average person thinks. And when you talk about your attendance being up 13%, somebody's winning some money too.
Well, that's right. That's right. You know, our attendance is up, and Oklahoma is to quarter horse racing what Kentucky is to thoroughbred racing.
exactly.
And you're absolutely right. The level of aficionados that are there on any given night is just amazing. Oklahoma has very, very deep roots in quarter horse racing and vice versa. And it shows in our attendance. And on those big nights when the big money comes down, everybody from California to Canada is there at Remington Park. And it certainly showed toward the end of our season.
And outside of Ruidoso, obviously $2 million All-American on Labor Day, $1 million Heritage Place Futura, the richest race in quarter horse racing.
Well, it's one of the richest
Yeah.
races. You know, there are a couple out in California, but you know, we concentrate on not just putting all our money into the very big races. $1 million is a pretty good pot.
Yeah.
And if you can win a race like that with a horse, that horse's value is going to increase and so on. But our average day-to-day race is around $30,000 purse. And I remember when I was at Ruidoso Downs years ago, the trials for the All-American Futurity were $1,500 purses. You had enough to buy a sack of oats if you, you know, by the time you bought some wind
Get
pictures
a cooler
and
and a
so
trophy,
on.
that was better.
And our trials are $15,000. And granted, listen, I love the new management of Ruidoso Downs. I think they're going to do a great job. But everyone wants to race quarter horses at Remington Park, and we think rightfully so.
Fantastic. Well, as you move through quarter horse and we go into thoroughbred, when does that start?
That starts August 24th and runs through December 16th this year. Now we always, it's a bit of a roll of the dice in December when we run those last days, but you know, our last day of the season, we run the Springboard Mile, which has become a tradition these last 8 or 10 years since we got that, we applied that name, and we really have tried to push for graded stakes status. And last year, Churchill Downs did us the great honor of making that Springboard Mile, which is for 2-year-olds about to turn 3 in about 3 weeks. They made it a qualifying race for the Kentucky Derby. And we expect that they'll make it a grade 3 race in the meeting of the Graded Stakes Committee in December. But at any rate, you know, we know that if we get a Kentucky Derby winner at Remington Park, it's going to be in the Springboard Mile, because after they've won the Kentucky Derby, they'll go a different route to get to the Breeders' Cup Classics. But gosh, we've had some horses come very close. We've had some horses be the favorite in some of the classic races. So we hope that, you know, these are the stars of the future that you're going to see race on December 13th. And we have races leading up to that for the 2-year-olds. The 6-furlong Kip DeVille, named after the great Oklahoma bred who won $3 million. The 7-furlong Clever Trevor, which you remember well as we all remember well as the initial big star at Remington Park. And then on December 16th, the 1-mile Springboard Mile, which we named in hopes that it would be a springboard to the Triple Crown season.
Well, live racing returns August 24th, but there's still plenty of racing at Remington Park. How many simulcast signals, how many tracks are you bringing in, along with the casino, obviously?
We take 29 or 30 signals a day, so you can bet from 10 o'clock in the morning till after 10 o'clock at night on a numerous, you know, wide array of signals. And by the same token, you know, people from 500, 600, up to 1,000 different outlets take our signal as it goes out, too. So we're right in there in the mix. The Horse Players Association of North America rated us as the 4th best track to bet on in the entire North American realm.
You know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, what effect is the gaming legislation that's coming down?
The Supreme Court legislation?
Right.
Well, you know, I'd be lying if I told you that I could tell you or even predict it right now. We knew that New Jersey and Delaware were likely to get out of the gate on top of that because they had pushed the decision and so on. And I'm in favor of it in general, but we don't know how it's going to play out in either Texas or Oklahoma. You know, the leadership in those legislatures and state houses have some decisions to make before we know how feasible it will be for any of that to take place.
Well, looking at a business plan, do you think that it'll take away from your primary business, which is horse racing?
It started taken away from it 25 years ago. Let's I remind people when talking about this subject, about which I can't really predict the future. We're kind of looking at the tea leaves as they sort themselves out. But you listen to sports radio in many, many places in the afternoons, and all you're going to hear is betting services and so on, and all that's been worked out legally. No one's breaking any laws. But the people who are actually making the bets are betting outside the regulatory areas. So, the billions of dollars which are purportedly bet on sporting events has been happening for a long time illegally. So if there's some way we can do it and regulate it and hopefully, have more people benefit from it, then look, people are going to bet on horses and games and so on and so forth. I have no problem with that. It's human nature. But let's do it in a fair way. In my case, I think the racetracks have proven over 30 years that we can follow the rules and be regulated very well, and so it makes sense.
Scott, the impact of Justified becoming our 13th Triple Crown. Was that great for Bob Baffert, our friend?
Well, your friend and mine, Bob, just did such a great job. And Mike Smith, his jockey, was at Lone Star Park the week before. And I've known Mike since he was a little boy.
The Mexico kid, right?
Yeah. His father and I went to school together. We all, cut our teeth at Sunland Park. And I told Mike, I'm not going to ask you about the Belmont, but I'm just going to say, I thought in the Preakness it looked like you maybe saved something in the tank. And he looked at me with that sharp grin of his, and he said, you think I didn't? So when they hung up that, what was it, 113 and change for the first half of the Belmont, I said, Katie, bar the door. It's over. They will not catch this horse today. He is a marvelous horse, and I just can't wait to see him in person. And those big, strong colts like that when they're 3, they just get stronger later in the year.
Heading for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I think he'll be a monster in the Breeders' Cup because they don't know how good this horse is.
One more race, maybe the Travers, maybe Pacific Classic.
He'll run the Travers, and he'll probably run one more, probably the Pacific Classic, and that position him perfectly for the Breeders' Cup. So.
Well, you don't have to go far to enjoy your Bricktown Brewery card,
Boy, you
Scott.
can go right there in your office area.
Well, hey,
there's your gift card.
I'll take it.
Take your lovely bride there for dinner.
Got like 20-some outlets now all around the country.
They sure doing great. They really are.
Yeah.
Scott, thanks for coming over to Oklahoma City.
It's my pleasure.
It's been great for your support, too. I love the Remington Report. Dale Day does a great job for us, so be sure to thank Dale.
Oh, he sure does. And he's the voice of Remington Park and has been for some time. And there's no sharper guy or better individual than Dale.
And August 24th to December 16th, that's when the Thoroughbreds come back to Remington Park. We'll have a lot more Remington Park coverage starting up again then. Stay with us. We've got Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World. A lot to talk about in sports.
Okay, staff, if we're going to celebrate Remington Park's 30th birthday all summer long, we have got to get this party under control. Rule number 1, no jockeys allowed. So keep your eyes open.
Excuse me, ma'am, this is the cake for the party.
Great, just set it over there, please.
Absolutely.
Go! It's Remington Park's 30th birthday, and everyone's invited 24/7 all summer long. Only at Remington Park.
Celebrate your home today at Bowen's Discount Carpet for our Shop and Compare sale. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest prices you can find, great deals on new Shaw floors, and a huge variety of brands and colors that you will have to see to believe. Let Shaw Floors spice up your space, along with 36 years of experience, and the beauty of your floors will shine. Come out to Bowen's, where we refuse to be undersold.
And we're back on Bricktown Brewery's Oklahoma Sports Scene. Glad to be joined by Bill Haisten, one of the award-winning writers of the Tulsa World Sports staff. And Bill, there's so much to talk about, but you did such a great job covering the Thunder this past year, the NBA. Let's put a bow on the NBA season. Of course, Golden State, the champions of the sweep over Cleveland. Everybody wondering now, where is King James going to go? What might happen to the Paul George and all the Thunder lineup? What's your latest on NBA? Yeah, Kawhi Leonard, of course, on LA now.
Well, if you go to the biggest picture first, it's not good for business when you know in August, the year before, who's going to win the NBA championship. That's not good. Now, all right, let's say when the NFL went to training camp last year, I mean, nobody knew the Eagles were going to do what they did. Nobody, I mean, maybe a few people, a few insiders had an idea that the Eagles might really emerge and really contend. But no, I don't remember anybody picking Philly to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Houston Astros got off to a hot start, but I didn't really see them as being destined necessarily to win the World Series, but they did. So at least you had competition and some mystery throughout those seasons.
Right.
Even with Golden State having the second best record in the West behind Houston, I never doubted for a second that they would blow through the West. And granted, they needed a Game 7 win to get out of the West, but still, what they did to Cleveland was emphatic. And it's great for Golden State. On one level, they're really an interesting team. On another level, when you knock the competitive balance out of whack to that extent, it's not good for business.
Well, what about the Thunder? Where are they going to
Well, that's a great question. I mean, they're kind of stuck in the middle of the West right now, and they're at a crossroads, and they're stuck with Carmelo Anthony's contract, and they're going to have to buy out. They're going to have to give him about $20 million to go away. Can you imagine?
Wow.
And then there's the uncertainty of the Paul George situation. I think you got to. For that matter, there's the uncertainty still in my mind of whether Russell Westbrook is a true organization anchor. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a great player, undeniable, unbelievable athlete, probably the greatest athlete, maybe, Coach. I don't know. I wish we could go back in time and watch Jim Thorpe for a couple of days. You know what I mean? Exactly. But I mean, Russell Westbrook may be the greatest athlete in the history of the state of Oklahoma. Amazing. And yet, I don't know that he's a championship point guard or a championship leader.
Right.
So I mean, the Thunder, the development of Steven Adams is very impressive. He's so much better than I thought he'd be at this point in his career. But they got a lot of holes to fill, a lot of questions to answer. Personally, I'm not sure Paul George is at that level of money is necessarily the answer. He was fairly erratic. He was up and down. At his best, sure, he's good. He's really good. But how many games all season can you guys remember where all three of those guys clicked together? Right. I mean, probably fewer than 10 out of the 82. So
they're just frustrating, Bill. They play so well against good teams and then so bad against bad teams. Just
Chris, they lost 10 games to teams that didn't even make the playoffs. If they had finished, let's say 6-4 in those games, and I mean they're losing to bad teams like Brooklyn and Dallas twice and Phoenix. If they had 6-4 in those 10 games, right? Yeah. They would have been the 2 seed in the West. They would have had a better record than Golden State.
So what leads to that, Bill? How come the preparation? Is it coaching? Is it...
I think it's a lack of response to Billy Donovan. I think it's the step back in regard to fundamentals for that team this year was jarring. Coach, they went for about 6 years, maybe 7, they were either first or second in the league in free throw percentage. You win a lot of games making your free throws. They were 29th this year.
In free throw shooting?
That's no, maybe they were 29th in three-point percentage and 22nd or 23rd in free throws. But either way, a pronounced drop. That's crazy. That's 8th grade stuff. Make your free throws. And they're just, it's a fundamentally flawed squad right now. And I don't know if a coaching change, I don't know if Westbrook would respond to any coach. I just don't know. He's had 10 years of being allowed to do whatever he wants. 10 years. He's going into his 11th season in the league, believe it or not.
And it doesn't affect the Thunder on the floor, but I want to just say a quick word about our good friend Brian Davis. Just understand they're not going to renew his contract as the longtime TV voice for Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know all the politics involved, and I feel bad for Brian. I think he did a great job, great guy.
Mm-hmm. No, he's one of the first guys I met when the team relocated.
Seattle, yeah.
Absolutely, and a beautiful guy, and I mean, Brian is 60, so you would have liked to have seen him have 10, 12 more seasons and go out on his terms, and so it was. It made me sick and very sad for the guy.
We got a lot to talk about with Bill Haisten, including a lot of stuff at Oklahoma State that really is percolating right now. But I got to give you some time, JV. You've got a story you want to go back a few ways, and what a great boxing writer he is.
Might as well. This is the 25th anniversary of that incident, JV. This summer is.
I would really like, if we could get Bill to do it, to tell us the story that when we go to Kansas City.
You and me.
Yes. Yeah. And we went up there for the boxing, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Now, you tell about the boxer.
Tommy Morrison, right? Our Oklahoma champion.
Yeah. You want me to tell that story now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
JB and I, JB was hosting the show at 1430 at the time, and I was covering Morrison every fight, whether it was in Vegas or Atlantic City or in between. I was on the Tommy Morrison beat. And so JB went with me to Kansas City to watch Tommy fight. And we are, I don't know, somewhere up in Missouri, nowhere Missouri. But it's a busy highway, right? Yeah. And then traffic just stops. And as it turns out, a farmer or some guy was basically leading a line of about 60 chickens across the highway. And JB rolls down in the passenger window and cussed that guy for a solid minute. Coach. And I just thought, he's going to sick those chickens on us, JB. You better take a step back on that. But it was so weird and surreal. And then we went to the fight and the party.
At the party. Now, really explain the party.
No. There was always that. Well, no, not in detail, but there was always a after every Morrison fight, and for that matter, most fighters have a post-game celebration, post-fight celebration, and so JB and I went to that and had a good time. And obviously, we had a good time. It was 25 years later. JB's still fired up about it, so it was good. Now, and nobody threw a post-fight party like Tommy Morrison. I'll put it that way.
What a star-crossed, tragic career, and that documentary you did on Tommy is really something.
Mm-hmm. It was 3.5 years in the making. Yeah, it was crazy. Tommy, I said in the documentary, he's the most complex athlete I ever covered. And it's just a tremendous waste of an opportunity and talent. And, you'll always wonder if he had been more coachable, if he had been more committed with his natural gifts and his natural left hand. You'll always wonder what he might have amounted to. Having said that, if he came along today, he'd make a lot of money today. Because he came along at a time when there was Holyfield, Tyson, a ton of guys. So
Bob Moe and Bill Haisten, including we're going to Stillwater, Oklahoma State. We can celebrate a national championship and wonder what the heck is going on with the athletic director and the head football coach. Right back.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
What we see isn't always what we get. A smile can hide 100 struggles. Depression, anxiety, addiction, and eating disorders affect more people than you realize. People you know. At Laureate Psychiatric Clinic and Hospital, we offer a wide range of inpatient and outpatient services to help anyone with any degree or form of mental illness. Laureate and St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Back to Bill Haisten, the Tulsa Drillers sports writer for, almost a decade, covered Oklahoma State exclusively with the Cowboys, and still, of course, is very much in tune to that. And Bill, we got to ask you, he's kind of shook everybody, and all of a sudden it hits the internet and stuff about Mike Holder, the longtime athletic director, however it was said or taken, kind of questioning Mike Gundy of shouldn't he be recruiting better talent, and what's going on in Stillwater?
Well, it was interesting because it was a podcast interview recorded 2 Fridays ago.
For OSU, Pistols Firing, right? It was their podcast.
Yeah. Well, no. That's not an OSU production. Sorry, that is, Pistols Firing is a separate deal.
I got you.
That covers Oklahoma State.
Yeah, right.
So basically the question was, don't you find it interesting, considering Oklahoma State's history, that the fan base all of a sudden can be dissatisfied or not altogether happy about a 10-win season? And Holder said, yeah, that's a great problem to have because it just shows that we've taken the program to a better level. Well, then Coach Holder spends 3 or 4 minutes bragging about the job Gundy's done, and then takes a breath and then goes right into recruiting without having been asked about it. And I think the quote was, I would have a little different approach to recruiting. I'd like to see us be more consistently high in those, or higher in those national recruiting rankings. And when I heard that, I thought, holy smokes. That's like the most highest ranking person I've ever heard of who acknowledges recruiting rankings in any kind of credible way.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then my second thought was, holy smokes, Mike Gundy ain't gonna like this at all. So here you are, a few days after golf wins the national championship. Okay, football 110, the Mike Boynton hire, I'm not ready to say yet that it worked, but it's working. Yeah. It looks really good.
Sure did.
Give him a couple more years and I bet it does work.
Yeah.
I think he's been really good. Golf just did what it did. Osu Wrestling is about to get some red shirts eligible, including the Sand Springs kid, and I think they're going to light it up. So every arrow pretty much at OSU is pointing up. Yeah. And then the athletic director goes on a public podcast and kind of, and this is only a few days too after Boone Pickens' 90th birthday party, JV, and Holder and Gundy were posing for pictures together and all happy, and I just thought, okay, maybe we've got lasting peace at Oklahoma State finally. And then you roll out this criticism of Gundy's recruiting. And, it's like, okay, would you rather be 12th or 35th? Well, no kidding. You'd rather be 12th. But there are certain circumstances, I think, recruiting to Stillwater's kind of hard, or it's a challenge, put it that way. It's not the challenge it was 20 years ago, but it's a challenge. And for that matter, they've won 10 games 6 of the last 8 years. Yeah. So is that an indictment of the ratings? If OSU's consistently 30th and they're consistently winning 10 games, or is that like you said during the break? Is that a statement about Gundy and his staff and the way they develop guys? I don't know. I'm just saying everybody wants to be in the top 10 in recruiting. Everybody wants Dax Hill. Yeah. But and if they, that's a big deal too. And you're close to the Dax Hill deal because he's a TPS superstar, but it's going to be real. He now is officially across the board a 5-star guy for what that's worth.
No question.
He is a 5-star athlete too.
He is.
I ain't going to question that at all.
There are days at Booker T. Washington High School, there'll be 8 or 10 Division I head coaches there. Brad Caleb, our football coach and athletic director, has indicated to me that I'm busy today. I've got coaches all over me. Yeah. That's where Gundy flew in his helicopter and landed on the practice field so he could get there right after Urban Meyer was there. He is a great one. But, when you look at what that statement was and you look at, let's pose this one. Who's beaten Texas 5 years in a row at Texas, and where is Texas recruiting class? Above OSU. That's right. So it's immaterial. I think I heard the saying one time, those who need to know, and those who don't will never know. And so we just don't worry about it. Just coach them up, get them out there to play, and they do a good job of that.
Easy explanation, though, on the OSU-Texas phenomenon. OSU's just been better quarterback. Yep. It all starts there. Yep. You got Whedon and you got Rudolph, and then Chelf had the nice year in 13. And then Texas, where have they been at quarterback for almost a decade?
All over the board.
Not even up. They've just been either average or down for a decade.
Yeah, Tulsa with a nice feature. You guys had a great feature on Boone Pickens when he turned 90 years old. OU class of 1951. After, boy, Texas A&M must kill himself. He transferred right from A&M to come to Stillwater, and now I believe the last.
Well, he had a $25 a semester scholarship. And he was like a kind of a walk-on in basketball. And they said, it's not working out. So instead of sustaining his $25 scholarship, they cut him loose. He moves to Stillwater, and he's given them $531 million since then. So, yeah.
Not too bad. Of course, also this summer, we just had the anniversary of the shocking resignation of Bob Stoops and the elevation of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. I talked to a lot of people before I wrote that piece, and it's like, do you remember? It's one of those. Do you remember what you were doing when you heard? And everybody had a vivid memory of what they were doing, what time of day it was, and their first reaction to it. So, to me, I can't imagine at that level of football, a smoother transition that there's ever been. I mean, think about that. The resignation, as it turns out, was a process of days, if not weeks. Of course, we didn't know that.
Right.
But it was behind the scenes. And then yet, the day that Coach Stoops announces his retirement, his successor is right there next to him. And nobody batted an eye. Yeah. I mean, everybody seemed okay with it, and through a year of it, seems like to have been a no-brainer. Coach Riley's a big-time guy.
Well, I think he did a great job, and he was ready to be there. What really surprised me, though, Bill, what you said, was that had been going on for 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even longer.
I think since February.
Not one word got out.
Not a word.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That would certainly bode us well if we had that same security in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
Where nothing gets out. Because that was a big story.
But, I mean, can you imagine, though? I mean, at the Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas level, I mean, that might be unprecedented. I can't remember another situation where a legend.
Are we going to see Stoops coaching again, college or pro?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I think he's have you seen him lately? He looks
happy.
Unbelievably healthy.
Both his kids are preferred walk-ons at Oklahoma this year, the twins.
And the one kid, the slot receiver, can really
He
play.
can play. Yeah, he can play.
Not to say the other one can't. I'm just saying, if the other one, if
can't keep him straight, I know.
Is Drake the receiver? Mm-hmm. Good grief.
I heard him on the radio the other day. They were interviewing him, and he said, I'm going to start fishing. He said, I got to learn how to fish. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I learned, I needed to find out where Bass Pro was. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know where it was.
Right.
So he calls the guy, Hal Smith's assistant, and Hal Smith's assistant comes by and takes him to Bass Pro.
That's not too bad.
I haven't answered your question. If I had to put a dollar on one side of that question, oh man, I think he will.
I do too.
I do. Now, it may be another 3 or 4 years before he decides to do it.
Cleveland Browns?
No. I think maybe a Notre Dame kind of situation might appeal to him.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Back with the final segment with Bill Haisten. Stay with us. Since 1992, Bricktown Brewery has been known for local craft and special occasion beers. In addition to all the great food on the Bricktown menu, there are the new twisted comfort foods for you to enjoy. You've got to try the double Bricktown burger, laced with cheese curds, great with Bricktown's Attaboy root beer. Or something lighter for the summer, how about our strawberry salad with chicken? 2 of the new twisted comfort foods now at Bricktown. Get to Bricktown for local craft beer and new twisted comfort foods.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and Bricktown Brewery, our guest, and our sponsor and our guest today, Bill Haisten. And Bill, we're the Tulsa World, and we've got the 2nd annual All World Awards. Chris and I went last year. What a great event for high school kids. I think I put on Facebook 2 days ago, if you care anything about high school athletics, you need to go to the All World on the 23rd at the Marriott. It is an outstanding award show for high school kids and high school coaches.
It's kind of like the ESPYs, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
really
really
done.
is. It really is, and I think the Tulsa World, our hats are off to them. Any of us who are involved in high school athletics, we really appreciate it.
What an eventful year for the high schools around here, too.
Yep.
Gosh.
I mean, think about it.
How many
a year
championships?
We have 5.
Wow.
And 3 runner-ups.
Yeah.
Well, and then, who among us, nobody would deny a year ago that Bill Blankenship was a big hire at Owasso.
Right.
But on opening night to go to Jinx and win 48-10 or whatever it was, and then to sustain that all year and to win it all.
Win the state championship.
I know 6A1 is going to be big time. 6A2, I think the Hornets are a decided favorite in that class. So no, that's a great event coming up, and now this recently concluded high school year though was unbelievable.
All 19 sports are covered, and really that's the boys and girls are equally awarded in this, and I think the setting, of course, the Marriott is one of our favorite places because that hosts our Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah.
But I think if anybody really, really cares about high school athletics and they want to see the best high school athletes in this part of Oklahoma, they'll be at the Marriott on Saturday night.
And the keynote speaker, Chris Harris Jr., did you cover him at all? Know him from Bixby High School, the KU in his days back then?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember he was an overlooked guy at Bixby.
Right.
Coach Mangino and Coach Bill Young came in here and stole him and won a lot of games with him. Think about that. That wasn't that long ago. They won 12. KU won 12 games. They
Orange Bowl.
They won the
Orange
Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
With guys like Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. And, I mean, so.
And then they were just too hard on their football players.
Yeah. Well, then they went the other direction from hard coaching to the softest of coaching.
And now it's one of the worst programs.
And now it's probably it's the worst program in the country right now, for sure. Yep.
Quality of high school athletes in this state, Bill. I'm always amazed. I remember the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame as well. And the amount of talent a state this size puts out in athletics and country music, it just always overwhelms me.
You know, it's amazing to me, Coach Cloud, how many baseball players come out of Oklahoma.
Yep.
I mean, a higher level, whether it's small college or big D1 or ultimately professional, whatever. I mean, this state cranks out quality baseball kids.
Well, Bill, we were talking to Ryan Folmar, the ORU coach, earlier today. He'll have 20 recruits on campus this year from Oklahoma. And that's just incredible.
That's a big shift for ORU from, they went heavy California for a long time.
He said that. He said they used to be California. And that's, but I'll tell you what, when I was coaching at Cameron University years ago, I coached with 2 former high school coaches from the state of Texas. And they would come into the office and they said, I just cannot believe the level of talent in this state. He said, we always hear about Texas and how good it is. He said, there's more raw talent, you know, at Bowlegs and Bacoshi and places like that than they ever would imagine in Texas. So I think our high school coaches do a great job, and athletics is very important in this state.
Well, you know, the thing that really crosses my mind constantly, back over the years, now, right now it might be a little different, but over the years, there were so many athletic-oriented people as superintendents. And as a result of that, they really put a lot of effort into athletics, knowing that if a kid does well in athletics, he has to do well academically or they're going to take him out. And that's been something that I think the state of Oklahoma has been as strong as any state in the union in doing that. And by putting in all these players, it's evident.
Gil, you have something for Bill here for us?
You know, Bill, we certainly want you to enjoy yourself, even though you're on one leg right now, but coming back strong.
Hey, we're both total knee replacement. Dr. Conopoli.
Bricktown Brewery.
My stomach's not on one leg.
There you go.
How's your knee replacement?
As you know,
I did too.
It's the ultimate result will be great.
Yes, that's the ultimate look forward.
And but the process is a grind.
Yeah.
I mean, so no, it'll be ultimately it'll be great. So I'm just looking for the ultimately to get here.
That's right. I know it. Hey, we'll be back with our parting shots on Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery right after this.
Already.
Are you ready? Your room is going to be so cute.
OU is a pace setter in higher education and leads the nation in the number of National Merit Scholars enrolled. Your journey continues here at the University of Oklahoma.
Celebrate your home today at Bowen's Discount Carpet for our Shop and Compare sale. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest prices you can find. Great deals on new Shaw floors and a huge variety of brands and colors that you will have to see to believe. Let Shaw Floors spice up your space, along with 36 years of experience, and the beauty of your floors will shine. Come out to Bowen's, where we refuse to be undersold.
Ditch Witch, 5 words or less.
Making the impossible possible.
Technology you can't live without.
Most versatile equipment ever made.
Customer service and support.
Reliable, productive, ground chewing machines.
We're in this together.
Back to wrap things up on Oklahoma Sports Scene. That means it's time for our parting shots, and Gil Cloud starts us off.
I tell you what, the U.S. Open was a tremendous golf tournament. The course was set up very tough. The players complained on the second day because of the toughness of the course, and the third day was unbelievable with the wind. And we saw Phil Mickelson make a human error during the course of the match. To hit his ball while it was still rolling, 2-stroke penalty, not a big deal. And yet on Sunday morning, I'm sitting there listening to these people chastise him for the integrity of the game. And one foreign consultant that was there called him a silly ass. Well, I think that guy's a silly ass. And I support Phil Mickelson because I've done the same thing.
Well, I've got to follow on the U.S. Open as well. As far as I was concerned, when you take a look at Shinnecock there, couldn't somebody understand that was so tough? To me, it's not fun to watch a golf tournament and no one can break par. When they're over par, it's kind of like our weekend golfing. That's not fun. But nevertheless, I would hope that from this point on, that they don't make it quite so hard. The best, when it's that difficult, it's tough.
Well, my parting shot has to be a farewell and congratulations to a guy who spent 50 years giving back to the state of Oklahoma. That is President David Boren, president of Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma. In fact, David Boren, of course, has been the governor of Oklahoma. He's been a state representative of Oklahoma. He's been a United States Senator of Oklahoma. He's really done it all. He's been the chief executive officer, the president of the University of Oklahoma since 1994. He named the school's 13th president then. His impact academically has been immense. The school now, as the past 23 years, increased its number of endowed faculty positions from 94 to 550. The university has more National Merit Scholars than any private or public university in the entire nation. He's raised $3 billion in private funds and has overseen more than $2 billion in work on the campus in terms of renovations and new construction. How about athletically? Well, he hired Joe Castiglione, 1998, and that started the Sooners rolling again. It is now 20 plus years at the University of Oklahoma. David Boren has seen the Sooners with 17 new national champions, 78 conference titles, and a multi-million-dollar athletic budget that pays back to the university. So thank you, David Boren, for all you've done for the state of Oklahoma. He retires June 30th, then he goes to the classroom to teach, what else, government. All right, guys, got to talk about our Tulsa Drillers. They're back with their homestand, the longest of the season so far, and a lot of fun coming up here for you Driller fans.
And they won about 4 or 5 in a row
doing
now.
well, yeah.
I think they're getting better health-wise. They had some injuries and had some call-ups and everything, and that makes it difficult in minor league baseball because you don't know your roster from day to day who's going to be there. But to get 4 in a row back, and they're only 2 games out of first place.
In the middle of their 12-game homestand is going to include 3 day games, three big firework night shows, 2 buck nights. That's $1 beer, $1 sodas, $1 hot dogs. So just go to TulsaDrillers.com for all the details of the schedule. Our Tulsa Roughnecks having a rough season, Coach.
I tell you, it's seldom that you have as many losses as ties. But the Roughnecks are 0-7-7. We had the captain of the team on last week, and he talked about their practices are good and things are working out, but they just can't get in the win column.
June 23rd, they'll be back home to host, June 23rd, they're in Orange County. Their next home match, June 27th. That's the LA Galaxy. Guys, been a fun show. Thank you much for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Back in a couple weeks here with more fun guests for you. But till then, again, for J.B. Haney, for Gil Cott, I'm Chris Lincoln. So long, everyone. Thanks for being with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene, Bricktown Brewery.